Good afternoon, Westwood, and welcome to Flay High Field for the round of 32 MIAA Division II playoffs. Your Westwood Wolverines taking on the visiting Tantasqua, number 30 seed. Your Westwood Wolverines, number 3 seed. And we are expecting a terrific day for lacrosse. It is absolutely stunning out, Evan, after we had to earn it through a lot of wet, cold, rainy days in May. But now we're in June. It is a beautiful day, and beautiful days in June typically mean a great time for some playoff action today. 6 games amongst Westwood sports playoff games happening today. But how are you feeling, Evan? What are the vibes that you got for the pregame?
Oh, it's that time of year. It's playoff time. We're just coming off of our graduation where we were here yesterday. Well, me and the Westwood Media Center crew, but we're here to celebrate these seniors. But this is where the season begins. This is where these seniors are going to want it. They are graduated. They are heading off to college soon. But now this is their last chance to get where they want to go and possibly win a state championship and go out on a high note. And this is where it starts in the round of 32. You got to be pumped for both teams. These seniors are playing for something, a little more than probably they were in the winter and the fall, where we still have one more season to go.
Yep.
So I think you're going to see a much more intense game today across all these games. We have Charlotte Lynch and Tom Lydon and I believe Reed Benger as well over there.
Yeah.
Little brother of Brooke Benger on his first call. So you'll see that game from them as well at a later point. But we have some excellent games here today, and this is where it starts. There's where all these seniors are going to be playing for something today. So I think you're going to see a quick game. It's going to be off to a hot start for the Wolverines. But looking forward to it. This is what we, talk about. And, I said a lot during the winter playoffs. The big thing for these teams right now, for Westwood, is to go 1-0. You want to go 1-0 every round. Focus on this round and what you can do to win this to move on to the next round.
Absolutely. And the Wolverines had a terrific season to get themselves and earn themselves the number 3 seed, which I love where they're at. They got a great path to play against some good teams and to have some great matchups. If they can win and make a nice run, which I believe they have all the talent in the world to do, they're going to have some great games and great matchups with some familiar teams down that road. But it all starts with today, the round of 32. Your goal today, Evan, come out with a win over a very good Tantasqua team that was 16-4 on the year. And these are teams that don't really play each other. The only opportunity to really play each other is if you schedule a non-league game. But we know what Westwood's done with their non-league games and filled it up with the titans of each state. But these are the opportunities where you get to play these teams outside of your out of your league. And quite frankly, Tantasqua out more in the kind of Worcester side, of Massachusetts. So a different element for the Wolverines to play against and to stack themselves up against. But as we've seen, Westwood, continuously playing against the top teams, not only in the state but in New England, and they are battle tested. And I have no reservations with them looking to get off to a hot start, not looking back, and just coming away and looking to get a big win here in the round of 32.
I actually think, I will say this, if anything, because these are two teams that haven't faced each other and they probably have only seen each other on film, there might be a minute or 2 minutes where they're going to see what each team gives them. What are we going to get? See what they're giving us on offense, on defense, and then you'll see that go quickly. I think it'll be just a hair slower, and then it'll pick up really quickly once they kind of understand. But that's what you get in the playoffs. You don't know who you're going to face next round, and that's the advantage here for these teams.
There's always that feeling out process when you're kind of just sizing up the other team, and right off the bat, Tantasqua comes away with the draw control, and they are going to bring the ball into Westwood territory. So number 6, I don't have a roster for Tantasqua, so we will go by the numericals. And Tantasqua set up in Westwood's defensive zone, and they're going to get to work on offense.
Now Westwood girls are facing an opponent they haven't seen. Westwood boys later today will be facing an opponent they are quite familiar with in Hopkinton.
Yes. Some great defense by Westwood. Started with Sullivan on the pass attempt, and then some great defense on the back end. It looked like it was a combination of Olivia Mason and Charlotte DeMayo to get that ball where Donald picked it up. Nice pass by Donald. She finds Mackin, who gets it across the 50. Mackin finds Thurmond. Whistle blown, but play on.
Tantasqua putting some pressure on Donald there early. You saw that. Two defenders on her.
Nazalillo to the net and scores. Caroline Nozzolillo with the first goal to get Westwood on the board 1-0. And that is a person that if she gets hot and gets hot early, that is going to be a very difficult player to play against and get out of a hole. She's the type of player that can get you into a hole very, very quickly.
Well, Morgan, the last time we were here, too, on senior night, Caroline Nozzolillo, 249th career goal. We weren't there for the 250th.
Yeah.
I think town meeting was the night she got her 250th, so unfortunately we were not able to be there. But when you have a player like Noz who has 250-plus career goals, that's going to be missed on this team. That is, she's been one of those players who can score when you need her most, and she is getting off to a score early with about 59 seconds in the game. So, I was wrong. I thought, Westwood and Tantasqua, I hope I said that right, we're going to size each other up, and Westwood decided to put the pressure on early. But one thing Tantasqua does really good here is they've won both draw controls.
2 draw controls right off to the bat, yep. But Westwood doing a good job defense. They get the ball back. They got the ball back on that early turnover. Tantasqua was going to shoot. Well defended there by Mackin. Forced a pass outside. Pass inside. Shot saved by Donnellan. Donnellan caught a piece of that save on a nice shot that was point blank. He gets the first save of the game, and that's a big one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing you got to think about, we said this in the hockey playoffs last year, I think we say it every playoffs, is you can't underestimate any team. This is a 3 versus 29 seed or 30 seed, I'm not sure.
30, yep.
30, yes. 3 versus 30, that doesn't mean anything.
No.
Both these teams are trying to go 1-0. And, you're going to see good teams, and they're playing for their lives right now. So,
yeah. And we saw a Norwood team, I believe, 32 upset a 1 seed in hockey a couple years ago in Tewksbury.
Wow.
It might have been they might have been lower than 32, but they upset the 1 seed early on. I believe it might have been the round of 16. But anything goes.
Yeah.
This is the playoffs. Some people just turn up their game. Teams play different in the playoffs. I mean, look at, I hate to say it, but the Medfield girls hockey, they were a 13 seed, and they just got hot and got after it and got, earned a state championship win.
I mean, even players on this Westwood team, last year specifically, CC Thurmond had an excellent playoff start in the round of 32 and the round of 16.
Yeah, she had like 4 goals in a row, I believe, in the Westboro game.
Yep, that was the round of 16 game. It was the last game we covered here at Flay High Field, but she, had quite the start to her playoffs, and that's what you need if you're Westwood. You need those players who, when the lights are the brightest, they step up, and every team needs those types of players. Westwood's is CC Thurman. Watch her today, folks.
Yep. She had a pass, assist on that Nozzolillo goal to put Westwood up 1-0, and ball in the stick of Tantasqua. So Tantasqua doing a good job of being able to get the ball in their stick and look to get some opportunities. Catherine Donnellan with a nice save about 2 minutes ago on a nice point-blank opportunity. She'll be playing next year at Regis College. All 5 seniors, Evan, going to be playing lacrosse at the next level.
And you love to see that. I mean, going on and continuing your career, continuing to, play lacrosse at the next level at college, no matter the level. It's important. We talk about it on the podcast a lot. These are life skills these kids are learning. It's not just about, getting a goal, scoring lacrosse fundamentals. It's, learning the team aspects, learning the, how to work in a team, how to work in a group, how to achieve goals, what you need to do. So, great to see all these kids going on to the next level. I know that's something that Coach Patola and all the coaches at Westwood take pride in, is getting these kids to the next level and getting them where they need to go to be successful adults in the future.
Absolutely. When you put your personal goals to the side for the team goals, there's no more unselfish play for the betterment of your team than that. One example I think of is Jack Holland. The season he had, football, but hockey. So hockey, he was, it was him and Quinn, playing back and forth, and then Quinn ended up being the goalie in the playoffs. But Jack, no one more supportive. And is that a save by Donnellan? It is. It looked like it's caught in her jersey. Yeah, so saved by Donnellan. A little confusion there. We didn't know what happened. There was some hesitation by both teams, but Donnellan with the save and Wolverines with the breakout. Charlotte DeMayo She's ran it about 40, 50 yards there. Over to Fitzpatrick, down low to Nozzolillo. That gets knocked loose out of the stick, and Wolverines regain the possession. What a save there by Catherine Donlan. We didn't know what happened. And then all of a sudden, see her, push, basically taking her glove and grabbing the ball outside of the uniform. She just placed it right in the stick and worked a breakout, which worked beautifully because then Charlotte DeMeo ran about 70 yards.
I think that's what caught it off. Everyone was like, where is the ball?
Yes.
We couldn't figure it out. And
no
then
whistle, nothing.
Donlan got it out quick enough where it caught kind of everyone off guard, and then you see DeMeo taking off downfield. So, smart play by Donlan there. Hey,
totally.
Maybe catch him off guard. That's going to be key here. This team is definitely a lot better than the 30th rank would have you believe. So, can you find the moment where you can catch them off guard? It's a mental game just as much as it is a physical game.
Absolutely. Wolverines with the ball. Fitzpatrick looking inside, holds on it, sends it over to Meredith. Meredith working towards the net, finds inside to Nozzolillo. Scores back-to-back goals. On a nice pass by Ava Meredith.
That's big for Westwood here. 2-0 lead here. 6 minutes to go in the first quarter, but Nozzolillo stepping up big here for the Wolverines already, and that's what she's done her entire career, and I can imagine she wants a little more today. She wants to, send the Wolverines to the next round.
She is hungry for a state championship. She is an ultimate competitor. We have a new goalie in for the Wolverines, so I think there might be an equipment issue going on with Catherine Donlan.
So this is going to be big for Tantasqua here. Can you have Donlan out for a bit? Now, I'm sure when Donlan's gear is set, she's coming back in, but hey, can you get a quick opportunity here and maybe get a goal and sneak out a goal on the Wolverines here? They win again.
So Maura Keneally in net for the Wolverines. She's the goalie for the field hockey team. I believe she's going to be playing field hockey at the next level for Bryant and Bryant University in Smithfield, Rhode Island.
An American East school, and I know that because of my time at UMaine. They're a new member to the America East, and that's a Division I school. So congratulations to Maura Keneally. That's a tough division, and Bryant's a very good athletic school.
Oh, absolutely. Their football program went Division I. Basketball went Division I as well. And I think nearly all of them have. Thurman down low to Nozzolillo, and she has got the hat trick, folks. 5 minutes into the game.
We talk about playoff players, people who step up big, and right now Noz has proven why she's one of those players. But back to the, going to college. Once again, another player on this team who is going to be going to play at the next level. I think you said field hockey, correct?
Correct, yep.
Yeah, and I know we saw her in the field hockey season this past year, but still out there right now for the Wolverines. But, regardless, this is the type of sport where I think that works hand in hand. We see a lot of the field hockey players playing lacrosse, and that makes sense. These are two sports that somewhat translate pretty well, but for a goalkeeper especially, the big thing is being in a goal of any sort, practicing your saves, working on the fundamentals there. And so for Keneally and Donlan, that's, it's key for going to the next level. Can you get reps in the net?
Yep.
So.
And one thing that this team is fighting through right now is, as Bridget Hughes going towards the net, makes a nice move back inside, saved by Tantasqua goaltender, picks up the rebound and she scores. Bridget Hughes. Some great fight there as the initial shot was saved. The ball ended up kind of right in front of her where she was able to pick it up and put that in the back of the net for the Wolverine fourth goal.
And the Wolverines are starting to heat up here with about 5 minutes left now in the first quarter. A couple quick goals here for the Wolverines, but that's big, capitalizing on the opportunity. And Donlan is now back in net, folks. So. It must have been a gear issue, but
equipment issues. Also, you never know. Like they had the all-night graduation party last night. So,
yeah.
No one's like partying or anything, but it's a late night.
You're up late, yeah.
You're up late, and you know what? It's not the easiest thing to stay up all till 5, 6 a.m. and then get up and be able to play important playoff game. But
absolutely.
These kids are going to get it done. They've done it in the past. They did it last year, boys lacrosse. Remember that game?
Oh, yeah.
It was a little sluggish at first, but they pulled away.
I mean,
Nozzolillo with the shot. Hits the crossbar, then hits the goalpost. So a couple doinks off the crossbar, then the field goal post, and then Thurmond, Air CC, puts it in the back of the net with her patented jump shot. That was a fantastic goal, and she's coming around the net, and she's got great height, but to add to her athleticism to that, when she's able to get up there and get vertical and change the angle, how do you save that?
It's hard. That's hard to save too, because you don't necessarily, when you're up that high, you don't know where she's gonna go. She could go low and you're caught off guard. She could go high, and it's hard to kind of guess, especially when they're up in the air, they're above you. Like you're kind of guessing at that point, and in that case, goalie gets wrong.
Yep. 5-0 for the Wolverines, a very hot start. We were predicting that, and they have delivered. Caroline Nozzolillo gets the draw control. Fitzpatrick going to the net. She's got some space, goes lefty, and it's saved by Tantasqua goaltender. Ball on the ground. Both teams battling for it, picked up by Thurmond.
And Morgan, another thing I want to point out, big reason the Westwood Wolverines have gotten some more goals here is past 2 draw controls, they have won. They are now getting back the control of the ball, which is, maintaining possession, and that's how you get these points.
Totally. Yeah, and coach will make adjustments throughout the game. So it looks like Nozzolillo was in the last draw control, and, it's good to make changes. And a nice play there. Bridget Hughes able to knock the ball loose, picked up by Fitzpatrick. 2 field hockey players working together on that, and Fitzpatrick working the ball into Westwood offensive territory. It looked like she took a whack on that, but shook it off and moves that ball in the X position. Thurmond working with Hughes to McMillan. McMillan just missing. That was McMillan to DeMayo, and Charlotte DeMayo with the goal. So Charlotte DeMayo, we got Nozzolillo on the board, we got Thurmond on the board, and now Emily DeMayo on the board for seniors. Charlotte DeMayo on the board.
Morgan, that's going to be a timeout, I believe, for Tantasqua here. And, definitely some things to work on. If you're Tantasqua, the big thing you're looking for right now is how do we recover? How do we stop this bleeding? The first 6 to 7 minutes of this game, they were doing an excellent job of maintaining possession, getting some shots on the net. Since then, though, it's been the Westwood show, and they have sort of found their way to maintain possession. So if you're Tantasqua, you got to figure out, okay, how do we get that possession back? And it starts with the draw control, I think. If you're Tantasqua, you got to, get those draw controls back, because they're having an okay time when they win the draw control and taking it down on the Wolverines net. They're maintaining possession, they're draining some clock, and they're getting some shots. So if I'm them, that's the adjustment I'm probably making. And then for the Wolverines, right now they have found their groove. If I'm Coach Spatola, it's kind of about, maintain that groove. Keep winning those draw controls. Keep maintaining that possession, finding the open shots, and taking smart shots.
Yeah, that's the thing when you play Westwood, they just are explosive.
Yep.
So you are not only just have to play good defense, but you have to match the goal score. Mm-hmm. We talked about the Quincy game with Jack McDaniels today when Westwood played. It was 21-21 after the first quarter.
Right.
And it was, kind of similar theme. Sometimes you have to keep up the other team with just explosive offense.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that. Westwood, we're looking 7 minutes into the game.
Yeah,
about.
About. And, a little over, actually, but yeah.
And, up 6-0. So
it's not insurmountable for them. We've seen comebacks before. You mentioned our conversation with Jack McDaniels for a future episode of the Wolverine Report. We talked a little about a game that he watched, which was the Ashland game this year, where, running that wing formation, they scored 14 on Westwood. They got off to a quick lead on Westwood here at Flahi Field, but it's still, you still have the ability to make the comeback, but, it starts here for Tantasqua. Mm-hmm. You got to stop them here.
Totally. When you get these timeouts, timeouts are always good. It's good for both teams. One, if you're the team that just scored the goal, it's showing, all right, they need to regroup here. But also, it's a good opportunity where you can reset, get a new start. But that's tough when you get Caroline Nozzolillo on the draw control to herself and right back to work, go the Wolverines. After a nice win right there on the draw control. So 3 in a row, I believe maybe 4 in a row. Haven't been keeping
I think 4 or 5.
Tabs.
I actually think I said 2 in a row earlier, but I'm gonna be honest. I only remembered the last 2. I couldn't remember the
Then
one
I think about
before
we've
that.
had 6 goals, so it's got to be more.
Yeah, I know. I think the first 3 went to Tantasqua, and the rest have gone to Westwood here. So, but once again, that's what Westwood needs to continue doing. Keep their foot on the gas here.
Nazalillo with the shot and a great save there by the goaltender. Nazalillo with a bounce shot and a great save.
A great shot there, but that's
Yeah.
sort of what Tantasqua needs there as well. Hey, we got to save. Now we have possession. Now we got to, get a breakout here. Maybe get them down the field ball's loose.
Ball loose. The headgear for Thurman got dislodged, so she wasn't able to pick that up. But opportunity here again, though. Ball on the ground, but picked off by Tantasqua, and they have the ball going the other way. And they have some numbers. Number 9's got a couple players in front of her. Well defended, though, by Kate Sullivan, and a shot on net and a goal. So Tantasqua gets on the board. That was a great breakout and goal scored by number 9 at Tantasqua. Able to break that out herself and then just worked it deep into Westwood territory. Able to get that shot just inside the bar and score a goal and get on the board to make it 6-1 Westwood.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what you need if you're Tantasqua there. There's a goal that they got it. So, that's the momentum shift. That helps with the timeout there. That timeout proved good for Tantasqua, excuse me.
Thank you, Jess. We got
Thank
some
you.
Red Bulls. Long day when you got Wolverine report. We got girls playoffs and boys playoffs to follow. So, yes.
Yeah, I was talking to Jenny Andrews, just talking about all the field, because there's
Oh, yes.
games everywhere.
6 playoff games today at Westwood High School.
Amazing.
Looking to go 6-0. Wolverines off to a good 6-1 start. And looking to answer to the last goal by Tantasqua. Tantasqua is, I think, out by the Worcester area. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You got it.
Absolutely. The Wolverines working the ball around. Hughes, captain-elect for field hockey next year. There's no question she will be, I'm sure, a captain for girls lacrosse. And DeMeo goes right to lefty and then to the back of the net for the Wolverines' 7th goal, and a great answer after a goal by Tantasqua. So Charlotte DeMeo with her 2nd.
And that's the response you want if you're Westwood there. You let up a goal, but hey, we're back on the board. We still have our 6-point lead, and we're still going to keep our foot on the gas. So,
that was just a great move. I mean, she moved so quickly from her right hand to her left hand, had that leverage, and then great shot. Great shot on net. Found that open kind of top echelon to the right, top right area of the net. Gets the goal, her 2nd goal of the game. And when you add her and Thurman and Nazalillo, the usual suspects, that is a dangerous trio right there when it comes to explosive offense. And we're looking at 7 goals with a minute remaining here in the first quarter. Both teams would like to get another one before the end of the first. Wolverines looking to get the ball on the ground. Tantasqua looking to get the ball in the net. Looking inside, the pass, and a shot and a goal. Looked like number 9 again. No, that's number 6 with the goal for Tantasqua. And they get their 2nd goal. So a nice pass in there. It was a nice little pick inside, low pick, and pass, shot, goal for Tantasqua.
And that's a big goal for Tantasqua. That's a momentum shifter for them. It's 49 seconds left in this quarter. Still plenty of time for one of these other teams to get a goal. If you're Tantasqua, you get your 3rd goal before the end of this quarter. That's big momentum-wise for them. Same for Westwood. If Tantasqua's starting to find their groove here too now after that timeout. That was a timely adjustment by the Tantasqua coach. If you can get a goal here before the end of this quarter, for either team, that's a big momentum shift for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, Westwood looking to answer it. They got plenty of time here. They got 47 seconds, and they got the draw control win. So opportunity here for the Wolverines. 40 seconds and counting. Looks like Hughes going to work it down low, set that up where the Wolverines can get their offense going with some cuts. Wolverines do a good job. They get some high cuts. They get some low cuts. So it forces the attention of the defenders to keep an eye on all areas around the cage.
Unless the clock is running here, so
Yeah.
Westwood will have.
And they won't reset it typically. If their clock has issues and it's like, the team's issues and the ball's in their stick, like a pass inside, shot and a goal. Didn't matter with a pass and shot like that. Thurman to DeMeo, and DeMeo with a hat trick.
4 seconds left on the board. That is that crucial momentum swinger
Just
there.
how you drew it up. They wanted the clock to continue to tick as they were waiting for the go from the official. But we saw that happen in the Medfield game for boys lacrosse, and the clock ticked about 20 seconds, and it was Westwood's ball, and they had I think they had an opportunity to take it to the net, and it just expired. And
Yeah.
the ref said, "Well, it's your ball. Like, we're not going to just go back." So it was it's Wolverines able to use it to their advantage.
I mean, yeah, that's what you want exactly. Hey, let that clock tick, get a goal. You already have a lead as is. So if
Yeah.
they don't get a goal there, no big deal.
Yep.
You have the lead. Yeah, of course you want the goal, but at the same time, you're going into the quarter with the lead. But that's just a momentum shifter for Westwood, and that'll do it.
Absolutely. So after 1 quarter of lacrosse, Westwood 8, Tantasqua 2. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back for the start of the second quarter after a message from Arch Orthodontics.
There's magic associated with high school sports that's hard to quantify. Legends are born.
And they put it in the back of the net.
Memories are made. And smiles come across our faces. These are the moments we talk about forever. They become part of our history. They define us. At Arch Orthodontics, we know how important it is to engage with our community, how critical it is to empower these defining moments. And in a sense, we define our community too. We build confidence. We make the smiles that light up the field, the rink, the gym, and the court. And we do it with a dedication to excellence, just like our athletes who inspire us every time they put on a Westwood uniform.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance, and Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
Welcome back, folks. Westwood with an explosive start, 8-2 in the first quarter. We got 2 hat tricks in the first quarter. Hat trick for Caroline Nozzolillo, hat trick for Charlotte DeMeo, and then goals by Bridget Hughes and Cece Thurmond to cap off the first quarter. And that is what you want to see if you were head coach Margot Spatola for the start for the Wolverines. Get off to a nice explosive start, which they had, and then to continue to build off that for the second quarter. And these games, if you can get to running time in a playoff game, that is some good confidence building. And it's not just confidence building; it's just good, some good momentum and some good habits to get into with building, some solid momentum come playoff time.
Yeah, I mean exactly what you want to do if you're Westwood. Get that get running time going. Where you're a team that's good enough to get running time in the playoffs. I mean, these are typically matches where you're not going to see that. So anything you can do to get a competitive advantage for Westwood is big.
Yeah. Jenny Mackin with the draw control. We've said that a bunch the last couple of years. Terrific draw control specialist for the Wolverines, and has been having a terrific year on defense. Charlotte DeMeo, she had a hat trick in the first quarter, looking to add to that total. We've seen a couple double hat tricks throughout the playoffs the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think Nozzolillo had one last year.
Nozzolillo making a cut, going inside, holds on it, and she draws the whistle for a draw control. So a great opportunity here for Caroline Nozzolillo on the 8-meter. She's going to start with a lefty. She's on the offhand, but it's really not an offhand for her. She is gifted lefty and righty, and she puts that in the back of the net for her 4th goal. Just incredible that she can just start lefty and finish lefty like that. Not everyone has their offhand that is, as impressive as the right. And, it reminds me of Liam Williams. What he can do shooting lefty is just as impressive as how he shoots righty. But that was a well-placed shot by Caroline Nozzolillo for her 4th goal of the game, Westwood's 9th goal of the game.
And Westwood picking up right where they left off at the end of that quarter. Quick goal here, only a minute 2 gone in this quarter. So, that's what you need if you're Westwood, Getting quick goals, getting it close to that running time. Running time won't start until, or actually I think running time starts whenever you get above 10 in girls lacrosse. I think for boys lacrosse it's after the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
So start begins. So Westwood, if they can get running time, they're only 3 goals away from running time now. So
we've seen some quick games, when it comes to girls lacrosse over the years, where when you get the running time, and they're also they get to a certain point where they're just kind of letting that clock tick. So they'll work it around. Pass inside to Hughes. That shot goes wide. Loose ball behind the net. It's going to be an infraction on Westwood, and that ball is going to be in the stick of Tantasqua. It's a beautiful pass. It looked like DeMeo to Bridget Hughes inside. Just missed the net on the right-hand side. Tantasqua looking for the clear. That pass goes off the stick and picked up by Charlotte DeMeo. Charlotte DeMeo right back to Bridget Hughes. Wolverines getting their aggressive defense going. Thurmond with the goal. And she scores lefty. So back-to-back offhand goals by Nozzolillo and Thurmond to get the Wolverines on the board with their 10th goal and a 10-2 lead. That's Thurman's 2nd of the game. She's had a few assists as well, so a great start for CC Thurmond. And that is a intimidating presence around the net. When someone can just take it to the post like that, and have that height and the jump ability, but to do it both sides of the net and also have some pretty key passes, from behind the net to a Nozzolillo in front, a DeMeo in front, and just any Westwood cutter or goal scorer, that's tough to defend. And Wolverines right back to work with the draw control. Jenny Mackin again. Such a big piece is Mackin. Just a hard worker. She gets that ball on the ground and is so good at just anticipating where that ball is going to go and getting after it and getting some wins. She'll tip it up to herself as well. Pass inside. That ball was a little bit high, but good recovery by Fitzpatrick off the post with the shot. We got a whistle.
I think
As the officials are going to have a conversation. Looks like it's going to potentially be on Westwood. It might be is it a dangerous shot? It's going to be an infraction on Westwood. No flag or anything, or excuse me, no card. But now here comes Westwood with their breakout defense. They get very aggressive, looking to get the ball on the ground. They've done a good job all year of making it difficult for other teams to try and get the ball out of their end. Oh, that was a nice pass, nice catch there. Picked up by number 9 or number 6. Hard to see, there's similar numbers with just logo. And some nice shifty moves there by number 6. She scored the 2nd goal for Tantasqua and finds number 3. So a nice solid breakout there, able to get it across the 50 and in the stick of their offensive players and looking to get an opportunity to get a shot on net. Looking to cut into Westwood's 8-goal lead. Wolverines up 10-2. Just about 4 minutes here into the 2nd quarter. Goals by seniors Nozzolillo and Thurmond here in the 2nd quarter. And we have a whistle and then a restart. Pass inside. That ball's knocked loose. Nice play there. Looked like by Ava Meredith. So Ava Meredith, great job, able to knock the ball loose on defense there and have Westwood go the other way. Thurman is going to work it inside the 30. He's going to work it back behind the net into the X position. So great defense by the Wolverines that turns into some offense to get their players going as they're going to work it around. Nas inside, makes a nice cut. Pass just goes past DeMayo. Ball hits the turf, picked up by Tantasqua. Wolverine's going to get aggressive on the defense. Tantasqua. Give it to the goaltender, who's going to have some time and space. Use it in the crease and then right back. And playing a little keep away, but the ball hits the turf. Fitzpatrick able to knock that ball to open space and picks it up herself, and ball back in the stick of the Wolverines. See if we can get some updates throughout the baseball games. A great app of Game Changer. It allows you to keep up to date. So looking to see if we can get some updates there.
And softball.
Yeah, baseball and softball. Softball playing, I believe, Whitman Hanson.
Yep.
Baseball playing Plymouth South. So we do have some score updates. Wolverines up 10-3 in softball. Love to see it. Then baseball up 3-2. So baseball up 3-2. See what inning that is. It's the bottom of the 4th. Softball up 10-3. In the top of the 5th. So very quick moving games we have so far for baseball and softball. Love to see it.
Softball's a quick game too. I mean, you know, they move, and when you get scores like that, you can move. So, you know, great to see for the Wolverines having a good day so far on the opening day of MIAA playoffs. Still got another game in the later this evening as Westwood takes on Hopkinton.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good one.
Rivalry matchup in the round of 32. It don't get better than that. Talking to Tom Nappy last night. He's all fired up about it. He wants up-to-date updates. I believe he's going to be covering a number of different matches today. Oh, a pass just over the stick of Nazalillo. Well defended on the backup is DeMayo, who scores. Charlotte DeMayo joins Caroline Nazalillo with her 4th goal. That was an initial pass intended for Nazalillo, but DeMayo in a great spot to be able to get the stick on that ball as it was working its way to open territory. They took it right to the net, and a great finish. The Wolverines' 11th goal.
Westwood's looking to get that 10-point lead here. They're knocking on the door with 9-point lead right now. But, you know, that's what you want if you're Westwood. Get that 10-point lead, get the running clock, get the advantage in your hand, and you're in full control of this game.
Mackin right back to the draw. She's been terrific. And look at, she is all over it, and picked up by DeMayo. So another win for the Wolverines. Bridget Hughes gonna work it in. Dishes off to Thurman. So Nazalillo, DeMayo, 4 goals apiece. Count for 8 of Westwood's 11 goals, and then goals by Bridget Hughes, and then Thurman with 2. Charlotte. Talked to Charlotte and Nas after, I believe it was the Bishop Girton game, and they're fired up as anything to go out and win a state championship their senior year. Thurman cutting it inside, shot, and she scores. CeCe Thurman with the hat trick. And that gives Westwood a 10-goal lead. And when we were talking to them, they were fired up for the opportunity to chase after a state championship their senior year. But to add on top of that, to go and win for their sister, Emily DeMayo, and you know the tough break that she had this season, it's you know, it's just truly something special. They love her. I saw a video of Caroline picking her up off the ground when she was injured, and it just shows these girls are sisters. They are absolutely family. And when one of their teammates goes down, it is top of mind, and it is such a motivational factor for them to play for such a special player who had been a huge contributor to this team and the state championships that they've had, and just creating some amazing Westwood memories. And will certainly go down. Emily, in addition to her sister Charlotte, is two of the very best complete players. When you talk about players who play the full length of the field, just as impressive on defense and offense, those are two of the best, and certainly motivational factors for the Wolverines as they enter here in an MIAA playoff round of 32. So Wolverines get another turnover. Nazalillo, she's got the feet moving. She takes some contact. That was actually a pretty solid hit. And I think a flag is going to come out. So yes, we're going to see a yellow card. And the Wolverines going to be on the woman up. So I'm not sure if that's going to be I think in lacrosse there's a 30-second, there's a minute, and there's a 2-minute. That might be on the 2-minute side, the contact to the head. Usually we see just a little kind of nudge, kind of with the goggles. That was solid contact there, so it might have warranted for a longer penalty. But here we go, opportunity for Westwood to look to get a goal with the player up. That was a nice patient play by Thurman. She had it in a good spot, but not the best angle, held onto it to really maximize the opportunity here for the Wolverines. You see Kate Sullivan now up, helping out in the offense. She's someone who can certainly score some big goals. That ball gets deflected, but no harm there. DeMayo on the backup. See Aaron Gannon out there on the man up as well. Thurman sends it up top to DeMayo. DeMayo holds on it. Centers it over to Kate Sullivan. You think about it, Evan, like these younger generation of lacrosse players, hockey players, like what amazing heroes to look up to with these girls. Kate Sullivan for hockey, Nazalillo, Thurman, DeMayo, for lacrosse, throw all the seniors in there too, with Donnellan as well. Pass inside, we got a whistle.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it though. The big thing is it creates a culture, creates the Westwood culture that these teams across all sports have strived to create.
Sullivan scores. We've said that a few times this year, Evan.
Just a few.
And just added another one. Kate Sullivan with Westwood's 13th goal and her first of the game. Love to see that. We interviewed her during the senior night after the senior night festivities, and she is taking more of a defensive focus this year. And it's all about how unselfish of a player she is. She will do whatever it takes to help her team win. And last year she scored a bunch of goals. Remember a bunch of goals and assists she had with Nazalillo and Thurman. This year, she has been a big reason of why the Wolverines have had some tremendous success on the defensive end by, just being a great player back there, using her athleticism, great stick skills, knocking the ball on the ground and working some good breakouts. Those breakouts have turned into fantastic offense for the Wolverines that have helped fuel the explosiveness that we've seen game in and game out. Wolverines up 13-2, and that is the end of the second quarter in the first half. So an explosive first half of the Wolverines, scoring 13 goals to Tantasqua's 2. And Evan, any final thoughts before going into the break?
No, I mean, Westwood's having a great first half. This is what you want if you're Westwood, and the big thing is just keep this momentum going into the second half.
Yep. Absolutely. So great start for the Wolverines. They're going to look to keep that momentum going. Stick around, folks. You are watching Westwood Media Center coverage of Westwood Girls Round of 32 playoff lacrosse versus Tantasqua. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back to start off the second half.
There's magic associated with high school sports that's hard to quantify. Legends are born.
And they put it in the back of the net.
Memories are made. And smiles come across our faces. These are the moments we talk about forever. They become part of our history. They define us. At Arch Orthodontics, we know how important it is to engage with our community, how critical it is to empower these defining moments. And in a sense, we define our community too. We build confidence. We make the smiles that light up the field, the rink, the gym, and the court. And we do it with a dedication to excellence, just like our athletes who inspire us every time they put on a Westwood uniform.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance, and Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
All right, welcome back, folks. Second half action ready to get underway here at Flay High Field. Mackin right back at it at the draw. Ball in the air, and then gets the win. What a game so far for Jenny Mackin on that draw control. Huge. As I catch my breath from running up the stairs.
Maureen, if you look behind the net right now, you'll see
there he is. The enemy has just landed from Hiller country. So I asked Tom Nappy, what is Hiller? And he said that like there's a big hill and a pass inside that gets by, looks like gets by Walsh. Oh no, that was Weeman. So Weeman out there, Elizabeth Weeman. She had some big buckets over the course of the season this year. But I was asking Tom Nappy, I go, what's a Hiller? And he said there's a big hill in Hopkinton that people live on. So it's people that live on the hill. So I was like, that was a lot simpler than I thought it was. So, you know, it's interesting to learn that because there's a lot of questions people ask throughout the TVL of, what is this mascot? Thurmond inside with the goal. Air CC, we've seen that on about 3 goals so far today, where she has gone vertical and put that in the back of the net. And that one was righty, so we've seen her go Air CC lefty and then righty there for Wolverines' 14th goal. But growing up in Westwood, when you play Ashland and you play the Clockers, you know, there's a lot of, what is a Clocker?
Right.
What is a Clocker? I still don't know what it is. I thought it was a clock. I don't know. You know, maybe it's like Beauty and the Beast, like, you know, the clock mascot that talks.
Maybe. I would imagine it's someone who makes clocks.
Yeah. But, like, no one keeps it easy. You know, Medway, both Mustangs.
Yep.
Bellingham, Blackhawks, okay. You know, simple. But the Hiller and Clockers, it was never really fully understood it, but when you ask the right people, they will give you the right answer. And Tom Nappy gave me the answer for the Hillers.
Yep.
We'll have to find the right contact for the Clockers. And Tantasqua has the possession. Wolverines up 14-2. Early here in the third quarter. Beautiful day for playoff lacrosse. The Wolverines are the 3 seed. And Mackin knocks that ball loose, hits the turf, picked up by DeMeo. So Mackin all over the field. She has been a huge part of this game. Then DeMeo to Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick, she's got her feet moving. She is one of the fastest players you'll see on the field. You saw a lot of it during the field hockey season when she has open space. Not easy to do, to run fast with a pushing a ball.
Yeah.
And she's running faster than the people trying to chase after her, which is pretty darn impressive. That ball gets away, and it's going to be a turnover, and it's going to be a Westwood ball. So that's what Westwood's aggressive breakout defense does, is you force perfect passes. If they're not, they go out of bounds. You know, if you're not getting the turnover, you're forcing passes that, you know, are going to be errant at times. You got to force teams to be perfect on those breakouts, and Westwood gets the ball back. So working it around, looking to kill some clock while they look for some cuts. Mandeville out there, called a goal of hers earlier this year. Fitzpatrick has some space, and she draws a shooting space. She's going to have a free opportunity here on the 8-meter. Fitzpatrick to the net, shot and a save. Like off the leg of the goalie, and well, great athletic play there by number 9, able to catch that on the fly, and she's ran it about 40 yards and more. Crosses the 50. She's got some space working it in, looking to take advantage of some numbers. But Mack in there to defend and close down that space. Great job by Jenny Mackin. She's been my MVP of the game so far. Outside of the goal scores for the Wolverines, her impact has been huge so far in this game.
Yeah.
Tantasqua looking to move the ball towards the front of the net. Westwood does a good job of adjusting, keeping that outside, defending the perimeter nicely. Charlotte DeMeo one-on-one. That's a tough matchup to defend, to play offense against. She is locked down. Great adjustment, though. I mean, when you have her identifying who are the go-to players, locking down and basically negating them in the game, that's what allows you to get explosive offense and have not many of those goals matched. And Wolverines get the ball in their stick. Nice turnover. Nazalillo, she's working it towards the net. She's going to settle it down. We're about halfway through the third quarter. Nazalillo inside. Looks like that was to Mandeville. Ball knocked loose, picked up by Hughes. Hughes sends it over to Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick looking inside to Nazalillo, who scores. Caroline Nazalillo. And that's Caroline's 5th goal. So 5 goals for Nazalillo. And 1 away from the double hat trick.
Yep.
We brought that up today. These are the games where you see them, playoff games, looking to get some good momentum, build some nice movement in the playoffs. Caroline Nazalillo, 5 goals so far. Nice pass by Fitzpatrick on the assist. Ball in the air. Mackin again. We said that last year in the Longmeadow game. Mackin again, but it is again. She has been terrific.
Once again, we talked about it earlier. Controlling possession for Westwood is what's going to help be their key to winning here. They're maintaining the ball. I say ironically as they lose it there, but winning the draw controls and maintaining the possession is what has gotten them out to this 13-point lead.
Yeah. Mackin getting right back in on defense. He is really setting the tone, and a whistle called there. They're going to say it's an infraction as she was trying to knock that ball loose. Not going to be exactly a free possession, but going to start right around the 15. Mackin behind her, able to force her to adjust. Tantasqua trying to cut through, but Olivia Shea does a great job. His defense has been so valuable this season. They are soft-spoken, but they play such a big game. Here you got Olivia Shea, Olivia Mason. You got Mackin. And you got McMillan, who's always been helpful on defense. Kate Sullivan, that senior leader. Ava Meredith, we see Jill Walsh a bunch too. They've been outstanding. And then you got the midfielders helping out. When you have Charlotte DeMeo on defense, like I said, her and Emily, two of the best two-way players you'll see at Westwood High School, doing it on all over the field. You can count all the goals they've had, but you know, if you count all the goals that they've helped keep out too, that it's just incredible statistic. Kate Sullivan forces a turnover, picks it up, and she's got some space in front of her. She sends it up, and misconnection there with Fitzpatrick. Ball on the turf. Westwood player hits the turf. It looks like it was Bridget Hughes. Play on. I do get a whistle. It was some fraction after that. So fraction on Westwood. Tantasqua on the breakout. Gonna work it inside. Number 9, she's got a goal. She got the first one for Tantasqua. Number 6 got the second. Westwood done a good job since then. No goals since the first quarter, I believe, but spoke too soon there as Tantasqua on the board with their third goal. But as you mentioned, Evan, Wolverines into running time. Clock is continuing to tick. This has been a very fast third quarter.
Yeah, and as we look ahead in the MIA playoffs, the big thing now is, all right, for Westwood, you know, you have a pretty decent lead here in the third. And just looking ahead, winner of this game will be playing Bill Ricca Memorial. And if that is Westwood, that'll be here at Flay High Field. Last time Bill Ricca was here was in the boys soccer game, which we covered, that went to
what a night. What a
shootout.
scene. Had Terry Connaughton, Andres Castro up here, and we're asking for advice. What is a goalie thinking? You know, had the perfect setup.
Yeah, we really did. So, you know, winner of that game will be, winner of this game will be playing Bill Ricca.
Yeah.
And then looking at softball, which I know you mentioned last time, had a 10-3 lead.
Yeah, still 10-3, top 7.
top-
Westwood's looking to close it out right now.
They will be facing a Malden Catholic
Oh, wow.
here at Flay High Field. So that is a
Heard from Noontime Sports, Matt Noontime. He said that is a game he has his eyes on. Malden Catholic being up kind of where he lives.
yep,
So that would be a great game to cover.
Malden Catholic up where I live, basically.
Yes.
But
Yep.
you know, that's a strong sports school.
Big time.
You know, I can speak on the commute. You know, you gotta have to leave a little early from there, but that at 3 in the
Gotta
afternoon.
Get away from that traffic.
But
And a great defensive play there. Mackin able to pick up the one hopper. That was a pass attempt by Tantasqua. That ball's going to go out of bounds. That's going to be a Tantasqua ball with 30 seconds counting here left in the third quarter.
any word on the boys' baseball score?
So let's check in on the boys' baseball. It is 4-2 Westwood.
I will work on the in between quarters. I'll work on seeing who a
Yes.
potential opponent might be.
Fitzpatrick to the net, and she scores. Emma Fitzpatrick with a beautiful goal in stride. Scores the the Wolverines' 16th goal and her first of the game. And that is going to be the buzzer for the third quarter. So Fitzpatrick with the late goal to put the Wolverines up 16-3 after 3. Stick around, folks. We'll be right back for the start of the fourth quarter after a quick message from our sponsor, Arch Orthodontics.
There's magic associated with high school sports that's hard to quantify. Legends are born,
And they put it in the back of the net.
memories are made, and smiles come across our faces. These are the moments we talk about forever. They become part of our history. They define us. At Arch Orthodontics, we know how important it is to engage with our community, how critical it is to empower these defining moments. And in a sense, we define our community too. We build confidence. We make the smiles that light up the field, the rink, the gym, and the court. And we do it with a dedication to excellence, just like our athletes who inspire us every time they put on a Westwood uniform.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance, and Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
Welcome back, folks. 12 minutes left between Wolverines walking away with a round of 32 victory over Tantasqua. They're up 16-3. Running time started in actually was to kick off the second half was kicked off with running time. So Wolverines looking to keep that lead to continue to get time ticking off the clock and close this game out. Ball on the ground. It's a whistle. It's going to be a Westwood ball. Oh, no, a Tantasqua ball. Switched ends now.
Yeah, but Westwood looking to close out this game and begin focusing on the next one.
Yep.
You know, the big thing is you're going to be facing Bill Ricca, a team that's...
It's a big sports town. Big-time sports town, Bill Ricca is. They won the state championship, and that's a goal there by number 6, her second goal. So number 9 and number 6, both with 2 goals apiece. Bill Ricca is the state champion for boys hockey this year. And a terrific season they had.
Yeah.
Division II hockey is one of the most competitive. There's so many good teams. When you look at, Bill Ricca, you look at Woburn, you look at Tewksbury.
Yep.
Westwood had a great year and took Woburn to double overtime. And, Canton every year. It's a very, very contested division. Hopkinton made it to the state championship 3 years ago. They played Canton. Canton got the win, but, just so many formidable opponents in Division II, starting with that Bill Ricca team that won the state championship this year. It's back to the draw. That's fraction on Tantasqua, going to be Westwood ball. Mackin going to pick it up. Already, Evan, basically a minute 40 off the clock. And Westwood just looking to move that ball around and let that clock tick. And they are working it around the infield. Meredith to Fitzpatrick. Thurman to Hughes. To Mayo. So a lot of field hockey players, Evan, on this team. You look at DeMayo, Fitzpatrick, Hughes, Thurman, Sullivan. A ton.
Yeah. We see a lot of crossover between field hockey, ice hockey, and...
Yeah, and then when you don't look at the field hockey, there's a lot of soccer. And both the, Olivia Shea, Olivia Mason, and can't forget Erin Gannett, the freshman year she had. Had like 20 goals this year as a freshman.
A great season
Incredible.
For Gannon. But, yeah, this is, there's a lot of crossover. We talk about a big part of this team is that this is a team that knows each other really well. They're a very tight-knit group. They're a very close group. They play, a lot of these kids play 3 sports together. So it's very common to see chemistry as Tantasqua gets a save there. I almost thought that went in.
I thought so too. It looked like it was on the line. But nice save there by Tantasqua goaltender on a point-blank shot by Hughes.
But no, there's a lot of crossover between these kids and the sports they play, and it's very common. We call these same names across field hockey and ice hockey, especially. I think those are the 2 sports we see the most similarly built teams. But once again, they might have 2 or 3 sports that they still share. So, when you have that type of, core, it's easy to build around that and have good team chemistry because these kids. For some of these kids, they've been playing with the same, group of teammates for the past 4 years, all 3 seasons. So, you you spend that much time around someone, you start to know, hey, how are we going to work together? How are we going to, play together? And it makes it easier for Westwood. And I think that's why you're seeing them, do so well. That this is a really tight-knit team.
Yeah. That chemistry is formed off the playing field. And these girls, the amount of time they've spent off the playing field throughout multiple sports, they have so many fantastic memories together that have bonded them for deep playoff runs where they are playing for each other. That ball knocked loose, picked up, and then knocked loose again. Nice play there. Gannon able to get a piece of that. We got a whistle. It's going to be Westwood ball. Jenny Mackin finds Aaron Gannon. Gannon finds Fitzpatrick. Nice move at the 50. Ball knocked loose. Picked up by Tantasqua. So down to 7 minutes, 18 seconds remaining here in the game. The Wolverines up 16-4. And Westwood able to get the ball back. Hughes, some nifty stick work, able to get the ball. She's going to work it behind the net. I see the Westwood boys lacrosse coaches here. Todd Zahurt taking in the game. See them all in their blankets. They all planned. I think they all called each other and said, let's wear this uniform tomorrow. The big black W shirt.
They like it.
They like it. They have similar hats too. They are ready. They're ready for a nice round of 32 rivalry game. Don't get better than that.
I mean, and we're in for a good one. I feel with that game. This is a team. I don't remember the season results for Westwood off the top of my head, but I do know that these are two teams that see each other a lot. We call a lot of Hopkinton Westwood games. These are two teams that it might not be the number one rivalry you ask when they mention, but it's up there. Sure. It is one of those teams that both these teams want to play each other hard. They want to win. It's a good competition rivalry, I would say. It's
healthy.
Yeah.
It's not like the Holliston one where they really don't like each other.
Right.
There's definitely games where it's very contested. Last year, lacrosse between Westwood and Hopkinton was very contested. But it's a matchup that is always a competitive game. This year, Westwood 2-0. They had to come out of a 4-0 hole, and Bridget Hughes with the goal. I believe that is her second goal. It is. So Bridget Hughes with her second of the game. It's Wolverine's 17th goal as the clock continues to tick at 5 minutes 24 remaining.
But don't let it kid you. You can go 2-0 against a team in the regular season. It's hard to beat a team twice, but it's even harder to beat a team 3 times. Mm-hmm. So Hopkinton's one of those teams that's going to play hard every time we see them, and it makes for great competition. But don't let them kid you. You had 2 good wins, good solid wins over them in the regular season, but you still got to keep your foot on the gas here. And I know Coach Zahuric is definitely preaching that message to the boys. We've talked to him a little bit throughout the season, and I know he wants them to be playing hard every time they got on the field. So, it's going to be a good matchup nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Westwood, when they were in Hopkinton, they were down 4-0 early. And that was the game that they had to win the TVL. So it was a great character win on the road to dig deep, get back in the game, and to take the lead and then to close out the game. It was a great game, So they know that if they are going to, try and just drive and cruise control, that they can't do that against Hopkinton. Hopkinton will score quick and a lot on them. So they got to make sure that they are, dialed and ready to go. Tantasqua looking inside. Shot gets deflected. Nice play there. That was deflected by Mary Cosavera, another field hockey player. And then Olivia Mason sends it up, finds Thurmond. So great defense by the Wolverines to get the ball on the ground and then right away. Now the ball is 80 yards down the other way, and Westwood back behind the net, looking to just let the remaining 3 minutes, 40 seconds to continue to tick.
Yeah, Westwood doesn't have to force anything here. Don't give up any, errors here. Just let the clock tick. You are in full control of your possession. Let it wind down and begin to get ready for your matchup against Bill Ricca here at Flahi Field. And, it's a great win for the Wolverines to come out here and get a dominant first-round win. We saw this last year against, Oh, I don't remember who they played in the first round. I want to say it was Neshoba Regional,
I think
actually.
you're right. Yep. And then
Um,
Westboro round of 32, and then I think Walpole right after that.
Right. So, it's a great win, but, celebrate it tonight, but get ready for the next game. That's what the big focus is, enjoy it, but, we got another game to play. You're alive for another round, and, focus on Bill Ricca, and a great win nonetheless, and, great energy to continue on to the second round here as we get ready for the round of 16.
2 minutes 40 now remaining. It's Westwood doing a good job moving the ball around. Ball gets loose. Gannon picks it up. That got deflected as it was coming out of her stick and picked up by Tantasqua. Westwood still aggressive, looking to get that ball on the ground. You're going to pass it back to the goaltender, or the goalie. He's going to work it around the other end. Tantasqua an open player there. Crosses the 50, trying to send it down low. One-on-one with Kate Sullivan. Kate Sullivan taking away that space and forcing the player outside. Some nice defense there by 22. Obviously, we see these games, a lot of explosive offense, but so impressive the defense today.
Yeah, that was, I think, the big thing for Westwood, too. We had a lot of games this season where I think Westwood had such an explosive day on offense as they let up a goal there.
Yeah, goal by Tantasqua to get their 5th goal. Make it 17-5. We got 1 minute and 21 seconds remaining.
But, the big thing we've seen, I think we had a lot of games this year where we covered where, the big thing for girls lacrosse wasn't necessarily the offense. It was we didn't really see much of the defense. I think Westwood has this really good ability to kind of keep the ball on their offensive side of the field. They're not letting a lot of defensive plays happen. When they did, they've stepped up. But, today was their first, I would say, a real test as to their defensive prowess. How do we handle a team that's going to get good pressure? And Tantasqua's had some good looks and some good shots, and there are definitely some things you could probably clean up. But overall, Westwood has had a solid day on defense, and now we have a rough idea of what this team might look like as we go deeper and deeper into the playoffs. And you mentioned it earlier, we've seen it, especially on those games like the Lincoln Sudburys, like the Notre Dame Academy games. So, it's definitely something we haven't seen much of aside from those, sort of non-league games against the really, high-ranked opponents. But, this is the first real test, I think, for Westwood, especially in the playoffs, and they have done very well here.
They came out today with some purpose, got off to a hot start, didn't look back. Has another goal by Tantasqua before the buzzer. And that is going to do it here at Flayhive in the round of 32. Westwood winners 17-6 over Tantasqua. And as Evan mentioned, they will go on to play Bill Ricca in the round of 16. It will be here at Westwood. We'll have to confirm the date when we get knowledge of it. But a nice opening round win for the Wolverines as they put 17 goals up. Goals by Nozzolillo with the first 3, Bridget Hughes the 4th, Thurmond on the 5th, Charlotte DeMeo on 6, 7, and 8, Nozzolillo on 9, Thurmond on 10, and Charlotte on the 11th, Thurmond on the 12th, Kate Sullivan, Thurmond, Nozzolillo, Emma Fitzpatrick, and then Bridget Hughes on the 17th goal. So very productive day here for the Wolverines, off to a great start, build some momentum, and thank you folks for tuning in. Westwood Media Center coverage of Westwood Girls Lacrosse. And Evan, any final thoughts on your end?
Great win for Westwood. Great way to start off the playoffs. That's the momentum you need to carry into the next round. You have a tougher opponent in Bill Ricca next game, and that's going to be a good game to watch here at Flayhive Field. Celebrate the win tonight, but it's time to get ready for the next game and, get ready to continue to play on. And, overall, great team win for Westwood.
Absolutely. Well, that is going to do it here from Flayhive. Wolverines 17-6 winners over Tantasqua. Thank you, folks, and we'll see you all in the next one.